When I say we see more than the competition, I talked about the contextual piece, right? You know, on the network admission side of it. On our next generation IPS, we do what we call discovery. Okay, now you go back to the previous next generation firewalls, it was all the application stuff, right? Very limited on what you could see, right? We do what we call discovery. And when you turn that on, we do extremely deep packet inspection. We monitor all flows to and from every host on the network. We have the capability to pull the file information out of that packet. Okay? And what it does now is it builds a complete inventory of your assets on your network. And you can see they got them all listed here. It's very interesting when you watch it in action. For example, I add a server to my network. The discovery piece, as it's watching traffic go to and from that server, it'll first say, hey, this is a Windows server, and it's one of these 5 versions of operating system. As it continues to monitor the flow, it narrows it to 3. Then next thing you know, I know what version that is. Okay? It can detect routers, switches, phones, everything, all by just looking at the packets. I'm not putting anything on any endpoint anywhere, and I'm able to pull that visibility out. That's a crazy engine, okay? It's very powerful. So, remember what Jason said? You can't protect what you can't see. There's the secret. You have to have that visibility like you just saw. All right, threat focus. Now, this is what happens when you pilfer other people's slides. There's a lot of clicks to it. But all right, so let me talk a little bit more about the Talos Cloud and how when a file comes into the network, okay? So the file comes in, and the first thing we do is we take a hash of that file. A thumbprint is what salespeople like to call it, okay? Well, what that is, it's a hash of over 400 attributes of that file. Okay, it's a SHA-256 if you're familiar. Okay, takes that, sends it out to the Talos Cloud. The Talos Cloud comes back in milliseconds with good, bad, unknown. If it's unknown, you got to let it into your network. Now, do you see why just having a hardened perimeter isn't enough? Okay, you have to have a during and after story. Okay, so meanwhile, pretty much all solutions stop right there. That's a point-in-time inspection. We don't stop there. We monitor every place that file goes, every host that it touches. Okay? Because we have that hash, it can change names and morph and do whatever it wants. It doesn't matter. We got you because we have that original hash. It can change names literally 75 times. Doesn't matter. We know it's still you because of that hash. So we go on about our business. All we're doing on our network is monitoring where that file's being sent, whatever. Meanwhile, the cloud is doing massive big data analytics, doing behavioral analytics, sandboxing it, running it through more tools than you can fathom. And then eventually, a lot of times it will find, hey, that actually is malware, and updates every sensor on the globe. That's malware. Okay? So what's it do? When it tells my sensor, boom, I enforce the policy. I now block that file from being able to go anywhere. Okay? Pretty powerful, right? So now, let's say the continuous piece of it. As sensors all over the world, as files are coming in the network, they're sending them to the Talos Cloud. They continue to monitor, okay? And then here's kind of an example of, okay, that file that we previously thought was good, it's bad. This is also the same as if I detect it in some other country or some other customer, whatever. It's going to come out and say, hey, this is a malware. So, the integration into your, in order to get that visibility, you have to have security throughout your network, your enterprise. You need that visibility. You can't just drop something at the edge. Yeah, you're going to catch a lot of stuff that comes, because, you know, bad guys go in and out, command and control server is going to, you know, reach out. You're going to see stuff like that. But 70 to 80% of your traffic in a data center is east-west. Okay? So you need to strategically place these sensors so that you can get that visibility that you truly need. Okay? You got to think about your remote sites. You got to think about your endpoints. Okay? So, and by doing that, there's your visibility, and that will accelerate the detection. And then the best part is when you do detect something bad, you've got the tools out there to remediate very quickly, to start blocking. Right now, a lot of siloed solutions out there. I've already touched on that, but the idea is that creates gaps. Now, what we deliver is the unmatched visibility. I want to touch on a couple things on this because this visibility is a huge, huge thing. When we take that, you saw all of the visibility we gave you with that discovery, all of the different things. We take the full asset, all the assets on your enterprise. We take all that information, we compare it against the threat database in the Talos Cloud, correlate all of that, and then display that on your management console. And you can see it all. Okay? You can see what malwares have been on your network, what have you. Okay? It's unbelievable visibility. We can give you geolocation information. Who's exchanging files with Norway? Okay? We see every operating system on you. All the intrusion events, all of it just displayed right there in your console. Okay? Very powerful. Now, here's the number one differentiator that I get pretty passionate about because nobody else in the globe can do this, and when the first time I saw it, I was wow. Okay? You remember I said that file comes in the network and we don't just let it go, we monitor it, and we got that hash and we can follow it? So let's say 3 months later that file is determined to be malware. It could be a cloud lookup or whatever. Suddenly the Talos Cloud says, hey, that file it actually is bad. Because I have monitored that, I now can do what we call retrospective security. I can go back in time from the moment that file came into my network. I see everything that it has touched, every host. That's network file trajectory. Then we take a step further called network device trajectory, where I can go into any one of those hosts and see what that malware did to that host, what files it spawned, what processes it spawned. And you're looking at information from 3 months back. Nobody else can do that. It can go, if you offload the data, you could go years back. Okay, so it's very powerful. They call it retrospective security, and it gives you that visibility. Okay, you hear of a malware. Ooh, is that malware on my network? You can see everything in your network. Consistent policies. By having these sensors all managed under a single pane of glass, our Firesite management console, we can immediately push out policy. When we can apply different policies to different sensors, different groups of your organization, different locations, what have you. Very flexible. Now, a couple more differentiators that I'm pretty passionate about. Jason talked about the first generation of next generation IPS and just the sheer volume of events. Have you guys lived in that world? The events just rolling in and you're being told you're being attacked and you don't even know because you're looking at third-party products to try to figure out how to identify false positives, help me tune my policy, all that type of stuff, right? Well, true next generation IPS takes care of that for you. The reason why is because it's behavioral based. Okay? This is big. And I'll give you an example. We call them impact flags. Let's say that you have a Windows server that has a particular operating system on, and there's known vulnerabilities. There's vulnerability databases all over the place, right? There's a known vulnerability. Here comes an exploit that actually is targeted towards that vulnerability. That is a one-to-one mapping. What do? We flag that as impact 1 and block that immediately. That is your security environment adapting to your environment without you touching anything. Okay? Think about that. So if, say, that same server then gets patched and here comes that same attack, that's a close but no cigar, that's an impact 2. Usually you'll block your 1 and 2s automatically, right? Block them. I don't even want to deal with them, okay? Then it goes down to script kiddies with a Windows attack on a Linux server. It's noise, okay? But that is a solution that adapts to your environment. Very powerful. If from a management standpoint, think about the operational savings to that, okay? Another thing, we know what a command and control server does. We know what that traffic looks like. And since we monitor everything going to and from these hosts, we're able to identify, hey, this PC is under control of a command and control server. We tag it as called indication of compromise. Administrator, look here. Set your policy. Any IOC detected, block. Okay, all automating according to the behavior in your environment. Okay, that's true next generation IPS, and we can do that not only on our big data center firewalls, but we can do it all the way down on our little desktop one now. Did you guys see our little new desktop one that came out recently, the 5506, replaced our 5505? That little desktop box will run full firepower services. Why did we do that? It's because enterprise branch offices need threat detection. Okay, the landscape has changed. So very powerful. That's you have your UTM market, and they play very well when you have just high volumes of locations. And like I say, they do run an IPS engine, but in more of the enterprise branch offices, then a little bit more of a threat-centric solution might make sense. It's going to vary customer to customer. Okay, so. The last thing is the reduced complexity. Another piece of the true next generation IPS. All of those false events and everything that I've been talking about, 90% of that is just you need to tune your policy, right? And that's what everybody was always trying to figure out, how to tune your policy. Because we are focused on the behavior of your environment, we are able to automatically tune your policy for you. For example, your policy's in place. I add a new branch. I create new VLANs. I put these servers out here. I have these types of PCs. We discover that. We get all of that information, and we come back and say, hey, according to your environment, we recommend these policy changes to fit the behavior of your network, and you can automate it where it will automatically commit the changes. So without you doing anything, your environment will continue to adapt to as things are added, things are taken off, bad guys are doing things, what have you. Your environment will adapt to or I should say your security will adapt to your environment. That is true next generation. Okay? And now is that the big message is that you have to have that solution that goes across the entire attack continuum. You can't just assume that they're not going to get in, because they will. The threat landscape has changed immensely. So I would highly recommend that you get with your NSI and Rook experts and take a look at your environment, and hopefully you can find a solution that'll fit. So thank you.